Hello, and welcome to this unofficial episode of the Adrienne Ross Show. I call it unofficial because typically my podcast, which I put on YouTube as well, and the podcast platforms comes out on Tuesdays. But I've been doing a few unofficial or bonus videos to talk about basketball, talk about the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark, to be more specific. Now, I have a main focus today, but before I get to that, it's been a couple games. A couple games have gone down for the Fever since my last video, and I want to make a few comments on that. First of all, they got their first win on Friday night against the LA Sparks. So yes, they got that monkey off their back, and we were glad to see that win. Why? Because they're down 11 at halftime, and this team refused to give up. There was no quit in their game. And that earned them that victory. And you know what? This team has a ridiculous schedule, okay? They ended up having to play again on Saturday against the defending champs, the two-time defending champs, Las Vegas Aces. They did not win that game. But let's go back to the game they won against the Sparks. We've been talking about, listen, I came out after the first 3 episodes and I said, they got to step it up. And I said, everybody wants to point to Caitlin Clark, and it's the team. It's coaching, it's the team, it's enthusiasm, it's all those things that they need. And then they did better. They finally got the W. And there are people who want to say, yeah, but Caitlin Clark, she only had 11 points. And you know what? Comments like that only come from people who don't understand the game of basketball. Listen, I said that Caitlin Clark should not have to drop 40 points when she enters the WNBA. I had said that. And she has said that she doesn't want to have to drop 40 points. And when you have to do it, that's a load on your shoulders. When you can do it, that's a whole nother thing. And we know she can do it, but nobody wants to have to do that every night. Then the season started and I saw what she was working with and I'm like, oh man. But the game that they won against LA, Caitlin's line was 11 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. She was 2 assists short of a triple-double. And honestly, I can think of 2 times, there were probably more, but I can think of 2 specific times where those should have been converted so that those would have been 2 more assists. So really, she should have had a triple-double. But hey, we'll take the W. 11 points. So she would say, man, I didn't have the shooting night that I expected, but what did she do? She was dishing out dimes. She was passing that ball just like she does. This girl can pass as well as score. And she made 2 big threes at big times. That's what big time players do. So 11, 10, and 8, which should have been more, phenomenal. Aliyah Boston, we've been on her case, and I'm going to be talking about Aliyah Boston because she's really the focus of what I want to talk about today, which I'm reserving to after these initial comments. She had 17. Kelsey Mitchell had 18. And don't forget, I mean, this Temi Fagbenle with her 17 points, this girl can run the floor. She and Caitlin have a connection. And so it was beautiful to see them get that win, that 5-point win, for Caitlin to do what she did, for Boston, for Mitchell to do what they did for the Fagbenle. That just doesn't trip. That name doesn't trip naturally off my tongue. I needed to just say Temi. And congratulations to the team. Congratulations to Coach Sides for that. Then we went into back-to-back. So now they're in the Aces territory. She's taking on her one of her best friends, her former teammate Kate Martin, and they get the loss. She's got the whole Iowa, Coach Bluter and assistant coach Jensen, and they're the whole coaching staff there to cheer on. And they lost. And they started out fired up, and they were leading the game. And then everything turned, and so they had that loss. But again, this schedule is absolutely ridiculous. They've played more games than anyone else. They've been away from home, and it was tough to have the back-to-back. And I want to offer this constructive criticism. We need. I know I love Caitlin's game. I want to see her. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I want to see her work the mid-range jumper. Okay. There are times when I watch her and she's got some space. She beats her defender, or should I say defenders, because there's like gang warfare defense on her. And there's an opportunity. And one day, maybe I'll do a video and I'll show some examples. There's the opportunity to pull up for the mid-range jumper. And I want her to get more comfortable with that. I also wanted to get more comfortable with driving hard to the basket. Yes, we know she drives to the basket, but there are times when I feel like she'll drive to the basket when she sees a clear path to the basket. But I'm talking about being more aggressive in driving to the basket and drawing the contact. We don't want to see her hurt, but if she would drive harder to the basket and draw the contact, that's going to open up her game even more. Then she's got the logo three. She's got the mid-range jumper. She already can take it to the basket, but she can take it to the basket in traffic and draw fouls, because we know her free throw shooting is amazing. It's just going to open up the game even more. I see her sometimes. She hesitates. I want to see her more assertive. She's hesitating at times, like she did I felt there were times against Las Vegas, there were shots that she passed up. And so she could, you miss a few. All right, shooters shoot, you distribute the ball. Somebody's going to come on and say, oh, it's not all about her. Oh, she needs to pass the ball. Anybody who's paid attention, we know she passes the ball. We know nobody passes the ball like her. We know that she's a leader in assists. So she's not a selfish player. But there are times I feel where she passes up shots that she can make. She gets some daylight. I don't know if it's coach in her ear and that's causing her to rethink or what. But sometimes I feel like she passes up shots. And then, like I said, she gets in that mid-range area, and what she'll do sometimes, instead of pulling up, she'll kind of circle around. And then, of course, the defense is all over her. And now she's, trying to get the ball to someone else. So I'd like to see that develop, because the girl has got the goods. I want to see her use those. Gonna make a piece of constructive criticism about Kelsey Mitchell. The girl's a shooter. She has a history of being a shooter. She's doing some wonderful things, and you can correct me in the comments if you think I'm wrong, I'm seeing her at times not passing to Caitlin when she should pass to Caitlin. I'm seeing her at times force the dribble drive to the basket. Force it, okay? I'm seeing her, I feel like she needs a little bit more discipline. I'm not trying to take away from her game. I'm not trying to say it's all about Caitlin. I'm just going by what I observe. And what I observe is that she could be a little less ball hoggish. And again, don't come at me and say Caitlin's a ball hog, because Caitlin is clearly not a ball hog. The girl passes the ball. And right now, I think sometimes she's being a little bit too unselfish. But Kelsey Mitchell, I don't know. I think she needs to play her game. She's a shooter. She's got a shooter's mentality. But I think she needs to be reined in a little bit, because sometimes she seems a little bit out of control to me. So that's my observation. Also, Coach Sides, like I said, congratulations on that first win. She seems to have her team playing with more passion. But she's still taking Caitlin out pretty early in the first quarter. I don't know. I've commented on that before. Others are commenting on that. Don't know why that's the case. But I don't know what her thinking is. I can't wrap my brain around that. But they'll play again on Tuesday night. They'll play LA again, and hopefully they can get another win there. But again, I'm glad for the first win, and I'm hoping that there'll be more. Now let me get to Aliyah Boston. Aliyah Boston has demonstrated. She demonstrated something in her post-game interview after the win against LA, the Los Angeles Sparks, that to me is applaud worthy, and it really speaks to what really matters. She demonstrated some maturity sitting at that post-game table and really sharing her heart. I'm going to share this clip with you. She's sitting there with Caitlin and with Temi, and she was asked about her mental health. The reporter said May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so he asked how she's doing, asked how Caitlin's doing, because there's a lot of haterade. There's a lot being thrown, whether people are saying Caitlin's only popular because she's white, all that nonsense, or whether people, myself included, getting on Aliyah Boston for not finishing around the basket, for not seeming to have the energy, and for dropping the ball, literally and figuratively, right? And so she's asked this question about her mental health. Now let's check out how she responds to this question, which I say teaches us about what really matters. Check it out.
Thank you. Ramirez from Las Vegas, apwgramirez.com. For Kaylin and Aliyah, I've heard the questions being asked to both of you. Aliyah, you were talked about outside noise. You talked about social media. Kaylin, people keep asking you about it. It's a mental health awareness month. I'm just curious how both of you are doing in general. I think it's important to ask how your mentals are doing.
Well, me, geez.
You too.
Well,
How are you?
I haven't heard a lot of scrutiny toward your way, Temi. My apologies. I'm hearing.
Everybody loves Temi, but nobody likes me and AB. Okay.
For me, I mean, I logged out of social media, because I have to protect my peace. I mean, there's just a lot of like couch coaches, and there's a lot of people that have never stepped on the floor that just continue to tell you how you should be playing basketball. And honestly, like, we're messing up whatever bets or whatever they have going on. And personally, I'd rather not know, because obviously I did try to get those rebounds. I just did it. And so I just logged off. It's been better for me. I've been able to really talk to God a lot. I've been in my Bible a lot more, and it's been a blessing because I know he's the reason for everything. Like, no matter what, like all this that's happening on social media, it's because I'm going through a season and I can't wait to come out on the other side of that. But I'm doing better. Thank you for asking.
Okay. So first of all, the camera angle, well, you couldn't see her the whole time because of the camera angle, but you could clearly hear Aliyah Boston. And I want to point out a couple things first. And that is that, there was a little dig there about, the couch coaches, people who've never stepped on the court and assessing her game and all that. And I've been one of those people. No, not that I've never stepped on the court, because I have, as well as coaching. And I have observed and I've made comments. And you know what? I'm going to continue to make comments because that's what we do. And that's what happens when you're playing professional basketball, when you're doing your job and people are going to critique. And so people were saying, you should be grabbing those rebounds. Now she's like, obviously I tried, I just didn't make it. But my point was, you need to box out and all that other stuff. Having said all that, it's what she said after that really, really stood out to me. And I'm gonna back up to that and play that particular part again. So hang with me as I cue this up to what she's saying about how she dealt with it.
Not know, because obviously I did try to get those rebounds. I just did it. And so I just logged off. It's been better for me. I've been able to really talk to God a lot. I've been in my Bible a lot more, and it's been a blessing because I know he's the reason for everything. Like, no matter what, like all this that's happening on social media, it's because I'm going through a season and I can't wait to come out on the other side of that, but I'm doing good.
Okay, so I stopped right there because that's it right there. She said, I logged off of social media and I've been into my Bible more and I've been talking to God more. Now, those of you who only know me from talking about sports, believe it or not, I don't, most of what I talk about isn't about sports on the Adrienne Ross Show. Talk about faith, I talk about politics, I talk about the culture. I'm a Christian. And what she said was, I had to turn off some voices. Now, some of those voices, were mine, were yours, saying, listen, X, Y, and Z, Aliyah. But she's saying, as a person of faith, I had to shut off social media because a lot of that stuff, begins to wear you down, begins to tear you down. And there's a lot of hate around being poured out toward this team. But she said, I took a step back. Now, I heard her in another interview and she said, except for TikTok, because she said that after the game, actually, but I noticed the coverage of the comments after the game, that part where she's talking about faith and talking about getting the Bible and talking to God. I haven't seen anybody else play those comments. But anyway, she said, except for TikTok. But what she's saying is, I have to shut out the noise and I have to pick up my Bible and I have to pray. I have to talk to God. Because while this is her job, ultimately her identity, as she went on to say, her identity is in what God says about her. And it's that time in God where whatever she's going through, because she also alluded to this being a difficult season in her life, we don't know what's going on, but it's obviously affecting her in some way. And so now that I've shut off the social media and all the haters and even some well-meaning people, I can get in close with God. I can read the word and see what God says about me and find my confidence in him. And I can pray because my identity really isn't simply behind a basketball. My identity is in Christ. And as I tap into my identity in Christ, I also find ways to do my job better. But ultimately, it's about him. And so that is a lesson beyond a sport for every one of us. There are all kinds of voices, and I'm one of them, and I'm going to do what I do as well, but I have to do the same thing too. There are times when you just have to keep it scrolling, or she just shut it off. Get with God, remind yourself what he says about you. And then you know what? You can even step out and step up, even in the game of basketball, which is your job. That is a mature lesson from a young woman who is, as I've always said, even when I've criticized her game, she seems like such a sweet woman, and she seems to know where her strength comes from. And we could all learn something from Aliyah Boston and those comments right there. That was the main reason that I wanted to do this short video, because I say spot on to that. And I applaud this young woman for knowing what really matters and where her identity and where her strength come from, and not being fearful to speak that truth, which is the truth. So yes, that really encouraged me. Love to see that. So listen, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube, please subscribe. Please help a sister out. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all those things. Tell your friends about it. Appreciate your support. Listen, Monday is Memorial Day. Have a blessed Memorial Day. And let me say from my heart, I am absolutely thankful to God for those who paid the ultimate price, because we are privileged to live in the greatest country known to man. And I'm so grateful for those who have fought and died to make that a reality and to keep that a reality for us. So enjoy Memorial Day with your family and friends or whatever you do. And I'll be working and still being very grateful for this country. All right, catch you next time. God bless you abundantly.